It's true, we're all trying to make Frankie cry. It's a contest.
Done. Already lost.
I'm going to have you stand up next to me in just a minute, so get ready. Adam Phillips says, if what we regard as the antisocial inside us is more social, more useful and interesting than we thought, if it is the unacceptable, paradoxically, that might make us more acceptable to ourselves and others, then a remarkable piece of magic, indeed, secular alchemy, has been performed. I can't read this and not think about Frankie and her stories. The stinky boy and the dog disappearing on the lawn, the woman who builds her home by smashing everything, Sorrow, who is tall, skinny, standing there, just one of the boys, but oddly shaped for the job. If it's true, as Charles Duhigg asserts in The Power of Habit, that 40% of the actions we perform every day are habitual, and if, as David Linden says, the basal ganglia, a core structure shared across vertebrates that does everything from voluntary motor movement to moderating pleasure and control, if the basal ganglia and other brain centers shut down when the habit loop is activated, then doesn't that mean that we are only aware of 60% of the time that we are alive? If you're here, you probably already know Elizabeth Frankie Karamazov Rollins, which means you know how lucky you are. You've probably had the same question I've had, which is, how can I share Frankie with more people? And then maybe you were a little bit annoyed with yourself because you didn't have a good solution. And then maybe you were a little annoyed because you wanted to hoard her all to yourself. So this book is a relief on many levels. Robert Duncan said, I write as I do and I live as I do, not because these are right, but because I want this kind of living and writing to come into existence. I could not be more thankful that Frankie and her writing exist, because it is her living, her loving, her attention, and her writing. These are inextricably linked that encourage me not to be afraid of what I don't know or can't imagine. They say, even in the midst of a plague, there is a body full of sequins and surprise. They remind me that my tale is not just beautiful, but it's mine. They say, pay attention. They ask, how do you wish to be alive? If you haven't read her book yet, I want to tell you a little story that I think will set you up for the wonder and the twisting delight. One time we were all hanging out here at Casa Libre and we were talking about dying, because we do that sometimes here at Casa Libre. It's super fun. And I asked Frankie, what do you think happens after we die? Are you worried about it? And her response was a single exclamation. She said, carbon molecule, whee! And so that's the thing about Frankie. She's gloriously expansive, eager, and curious. Even in the face of awful things, her answer is plainly, I want to know all of it. She will never be okay with, nor will she let you get away with, 60% attention or 60% alive. I know Frankie is absolutely coming unglued right now with joy. We've been talking about it all day. But I want to give her a gift that she's given me. Great writing, I think, stops time. So, Frankie, will you stand up here? And I need you all to help. I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes. Just trust me, no one's going to come around and hit you. Just close your eyes. I was at a poetry workshop with Norman Fisher recently, and he had all of us close our eyes. I'm going to let you know when you should open your eyes, so just keep them closed for now. Frankie, I want you to keep your eyes open.
Oh, it's already open.
In The New Plague, the first story in The Sin Eater and other poems, Frankie says, we'll die. We will definitely die. At some point, our lungs will fill, and then we will empty out irrevocably. But not now. Now we are stepping beyond the sterility of health. We are going back to being organisms, filthy with germs and dangerously living. I want you to take a breath in. I want you to take a breath out. Please keep your eyes closed. Later she says, we might die of cancer or crash the car on the next block. But first, we will have this. The wind against our faces. Our crazy happiness whipping around the car. The trees sharp against the sky. This night's moment. And these deep breaths of sweet, sweet air. Breathe in. Breathe out. You may open your eyes. Frankie, thank you for showing us, for inviting us into an unbelievably beautiful way to be alive.